I have a versus question for you. This is on for Left 4 Dead and for The Anacrusis. So when we were working on Left 4 Dead, originally the game was nothing but versus. And that meant that you were always a PvP game, right? And it wasn't just PvE. And the problem we saw there was if you had exceptional players, they would offset the game. And it was hard to balance because we just wanted to give, some people just wanted to hang out with their friends and play, and other people would then raid on them. And I think the biggest time this came up was we were working on it. We were crunching. I think we were actually crunching for Orange Box. We were playing Left 4 Dead, I think, because this change happened. And do you know Fraggle Rock? Red Fraggle, Karen Pro worked on the team, and we stacked the teams. There were a bunch of us who played a bunch, and there were a bunch of people who didn't play a bunch. And we tried to play versus Left 4 Dead, and we just decimated them. I just remember we were playing No Mercy, and in the second map, or the third map, they didn't even get out of the safe room. You know, that's the one with the gas station. They didn't even get out of the safe room. We just killed them. And I got flipped off by Red Fraggle. So Karen's a lovely person. But we had just realized oh my God, we were drawing out the worst in people because there's so much anger around this. And it wasn't just that incident, right? But there was a lot of that kind of playing that made us realize we wanted the survivors, and we kind of made it survivor focused. So in Left 4 Dead, it is survivors are most likely going to make it through. And the tools they have, some of it's just the tools they have and how that works, and how we don't stack a bunch of... So if you can take someone down, if you can incapacitate them, you can't then your recycle's longer if they actually die. The rescues, we always make sure the thing that just took you down can't then also stop the rescue. Or in The Anacrusis, we'll get to a minute, we changed that. But so it is very much the survivors to survive. But the problem that comes with that, and this is something that we discussed in Left 4 Dead 2, and I was kind of frustrated on the team, I'll be honest, is I played a lot out in the wild, and I had seen this where you see this kind of toxicity come up from this. Because if you don't survive, you failed your team and everyone's mad at you. If you move off the path, or you go off the golden path, people get mad at you because, no, we go down here and then we do this and we do this. And it became very prescriptive of how you have to play, because it's very much, this is how you survive. We have to survive. That's what it's about. And I saw this toxicity rising up, and I wanted to make the zombies have a little bit more power and make that flip where that wasn't such an obvious case. There was some pushback on the team. There's some mods that then kind of pushed it that way anyways, and so kind of the belief was we'll let the mod people own that part of it and not push it, and we'll instead be about the PvE and the storytelling and all of that, which I'm fine. I like the game. It's a good game. But so with the Anacrusis, when we started putting in verses, I wanted to make it where it was a rarity for the survivors to make it through. And we then added a new mode called Ultraviolent in the mods. That's what we're working on with the community update. And that actually tips it back to the survivors because you get a lot more tools. But you can also then tip it back to the aliens by speeding up the spawn time. So if you've never played the Anacrusis versus, and you've only played Left 4 Dead 2 versus or Left 4 Dead 1 versus, some of the things we've added is you can play against bots. So it's just you and you can be one of the aliens, and so you can practice, right? Because that was one of the most requested things in Left 4 Dead. There's a whole bunch. You can choose spawn times. You can choose, do you spawn with a health kit or not on the survivor side? How many weapons are in the world? Is it weapon heavy? Is it grenade heavy? Is it Matic Compiler, which give you the perks heavy? There's a whole bunch of tuning. So check it out. But a lot of that was, first of all, to give you how you prefer it, because we were starting from this point of that the aliens had the upper hand. Now, if you go on my YouTube and my lives, you can go back and see when we played recently, and I purposely didn't talk about it to the people who are playing, purposely ratcheted it up for new players to make it be where you're going to die. And yeah, they died. It was crazy. It was people dying in the first hallways kind of thing, and it was just mayhem. And it ends up, that's not really the better team winning all the time, but luck was the winner, because they collapsed so quickly that if you avoided that quick collapse, you could go further, and that was more luck than skill often, just to how things played out. The grabber pulled the one player away, and the brute was doing damage and stuff. And so it didn't tip it in an interesting way. And so I want to go play back this week again and try to find out where that balance is, where that is. I think it is mainly in the core game, but if we do in the core game and we add the new aliens, because the update, I guess, new aliens, new versions of the aliens, they tip it one way. There's new special weapons, and there's new weapons. They tip it another way. And so I like mayhem and chaos, so I want to have like both of those, but where is the right balance? And it may just be not having faster spawn times. You can actually put spawn times to 0, and as soon as you die, you can just go back in. By the way, if you play, even if you just play on solo, if you want to play with us, discord.gg/StrayBombay is where we play. You just go to looking for a group and you can do /create and schedule. Because you won't find random games. Maybe after the update for a little bit, because we'll have more people playing, but not right now. And so with that, I'm just kind of curious of how people look at it themselves. Do you prefer as a survivor getting through, or do you see the toxicity that's happening in Left 4 Dead 2, or do you not think that's why there's toxicity in Left 4 Dead 2? Or do you prefer to have the zombies alien side be the more powerful? Like, how far do you need to get into a map before it feels frustrating? I guess, so for me, on the survivor side, if I die quickly, I don't feel that frustrated, where if I feel like I can't stop them on the alien side, that feels worse, and that feels more frustrating, and that feels more unstoppable and makes me anxious. I'm kind of curious. I know this is not a clean, hey, this is the problem, solve it, but kind of how people think about it in this space and how they think about preferences. And if you have the Anacrusis, you can put in Weeby testing in here, camel case, in the beta, and you could be part of the beta, and you could see some of the new tools, because there's a whole bunch more now of options that you can change. We already had a bunch, but I can change even more, and you could test the verses. It's just, I love PvE, but I also love asymmetrical verses, and this is kind of be the test bed where we even play with it more and give you even more options, because I'm like, you can give people a ton of options, but if they don't understand the implications of those options, it's hard for them to do something that will actually make the game better for them, if that makes sense, right? So like I was saying, the super collapsing fast down and realizing that's more than about randomization than making it interesting was interesting to me. See, I keep learning. I hate game. Man, if I was a woodworker, I'd be using the same tools from 200 years ago. I wouldn't be learning anything. I'd just be getting better at my craft. I make video games, so I learn something new every single effing day.